It's gonna be good, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be better, I can't wait. Making my move, live for the day, sing like a bird, fly like a plane. Come spill with me, Jenny D.
Hello, my beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining me with another episode on Spill With Me, Jenny D podcast. I am just so thrilled. What I really love about living in Pittsburgh is the people that you meet. They're so fascinating. And you realize when you start talking to somebody from Pittsburgh, you're like, wait a minute, I know that person. I know where that is. I know. So my guest today, I call him PJ the Painter, but he's an artist. He's not only an artist, he's also a special ed teacher. We met through mutual friend.
Absolutely.
And I saw some of his work on Instagram, and I was just so wowed by what he's doing. No, seriously. And he's very humble. He won't even say it. But I mean, art to me, to have that eye for it is just incredible. I mean, I can't even color in a book in the lines. But
I'm sure you could if you tried. I'm sure you'd be fine.
PJ, introduce yourself to the listeners and the viewers.
My name is PJ Smerdell. I grew up in Wilkinsburg, Point Breeze area. Went to Central Catholic. Went to school out in Philadelphia. And I'm a special ed teacher now, currently for the last 28 years at
he's
Riverview
old
School
now.
District. Yeah, I'm pretty old.
We're like,
I don't see that guy in the. I see a guy in the mirror, but I don't recognize him.
So give us the journey about you and, just like growing up. I know we talked about this, but the listeners and viewers don't know much about you. So could you tell us a little bit about your journey?
It was interesting in that I think that I went down a few paths. I followed a few roads that I was getting positive feedback from, but I don't think it originally was what I really wanted to do. And I touch and go with some of the things that I was getting positive feedback with. And it seemed like and sometimes I was wasting time, and I was burning days that were getting behind me when I should have been doing something else, sort of like you.
Oh, I know.
And
We do. We have a lot in common. Wait till you hear all this. But before we get into
Okay.
that, what made your parents send you to
Well, it's steeped in tradition. My father is a Central Catholic grad. All my uncles are Central Catholic grads. All my sisters and all my aunts.
Around?
Oh, it's been. I think they just celebrated 70 years. I can't remember.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's been around for a while, and I'm sure that my mother will be very upset that I don't remember. But my mother actually taught at Central for 10 years, and
Wow,
she left. Yeah, she left in '79 because I was coming up in '84. But the problem with that was, and this goes to what I was talking about, is that I grew up in the halls of Central, so I learned how to walk in Trophy Hall, and I would go to classes with my mother, and because they didn't have daycare back then, so we would go to classes. I'd sit in the back of the room, and when I got up there, everybody that I knew, everybody from the janitors, so you couldn't do anything wrong. You couldn't get in trouble because the phone would be picked up immediately. The phone would be picked up immediately. So it was kind of, and that's a good and bad thing. I never sought to take advantage of that.
Right.
So that also put me in the mindset that I have to be able to not so much be myself, but enable everything to be smoothly throughout the family.
Right.
So I did some things, art things in high school, but as athletics took over, doors seemed to be opening that way. And so I followed those doors rather than maybe something that I really wanted to do. I felt that I was seeing success in athletics, especially it made my decision for college too.
Well,
so I avoided that turmoil that my students go through right now about choosing where they want to go because people were asking me to come to them. So again, it wasn't what I exactly wanted, but people were asking me to do something, so it made it easier. It kind of made me
your family, right? Tradition.
Correct.
You come from a long line of athletes.
Correct.
And especially like your father, you were saying played
football.
Yeah,
my father played at Central. He also played at University of Miami, and he bounced around with some professional teams for a while. So that was some part of it. I mean, obviously, if we want to get psychological about it, it was there for approval,
Right.
and I sought that approval, and I was pretty good at doing it.
And you're not the only one, because I'm sure there's a lot of.
Oh, I'm sure
Yeah.
that. And when I get to, I'll give you a perfect example. When I got dropped off at the Penn my first day, people
That's
would
right, because you went to
University of Pennsylvania.
University of
Yeah.
Pennsylvania
So when I
for
got
football,
dropped,
you
yes,
got a
exactly.
scholarship.
Well, the Ivy Leagues don't give
I
scholarships.
know, you're right.
But
What am I saying?
I understand.
already know that.
But the funny thing was, is the first day he dropped me off, I didn't go to the library. I didn't go to my classes. I went and got both my ears pierced.
Oh my gosh!
I
You
left
became
because
a rebel
I
after.
because I was out. My dad wasn't there anymore, and I was on my own. So I changed the way I looked, the way I dressed, because Central's real, buttoned up. You got to wear a tie every day.
Yes.
I also entered Wharton School of Business for about 5 minutes because
Wait, I
everybody.
was going to say, oh wow, you're
Well,
smart.
no,
athletic,
because everybody
and
in there
you can do
was buttoned up and wearing ties, and I was like, this is not going to be me. And eventually,
Well, before you say that,
Oh,
BJ,
sorry.
no, you're fine. When we were talking on the phone, I wanted to tell the listeners of yours, we were both like, wait a minute, we're both like the arts. We both went to I went to a Catholic high school too, all
Absolutely.
girls
Absolutely.
Catholic high school called St. Francis Academy.
I knew where it was.
Closed when I graduated. I'm sure it wasn't my fault.
I don't know.
I know.
Depends on who you talk to.
We don't need to.
Exactly.
We don't need to. We're talking about you, people, not me.
There's some stories there. Don't worry. I know. I'll get them out of her.
Oh yeah, all
Okay.
girls school, really. But I mean, just talking about when you were in high school and you were doing football. Did you do some arts too? Like, did you get into any of the arts?
Fred DeGroot was an absolutely phenomenal. He's since passed. Was an absolutely phenomenal art teacher, and most of my friends were in there as well. So there were a lot of people that were entering national contests and things like that. And I showed some aptitude for some sketching and things like that. But again, decisions were being made a little easier for me as the doors opened. So I didn't put the time in that I was supposed to.
Right.
I also played a little bit of guitar when I was younger, but I gave that up because of the practices and workouts and things like that. So that led to something a little else. But
Yeah.
so that created some decision making I had to do, and it was making things a lot easier at home. So I was doing that process. And then once colleges, came around and were looking at me, then I didn't have to make that decision about the next level. No, I did okay on the SATs and grades and stuff like that. You had to keep those
Right.
up. My mother is a teacher, and she retired teaching 53 years. So I was kind of getting the left and the right there because I couldn't be bad in grades and I couldn't be bad on the field.
Yeah.
So I was kind of wedged a little bit. It took a while, but once I got to school, just like you, I found theater, and I did a lot of theater work. Production, not so much in front of the audience. That scares me.
What?
Oh my
But
God!
you're on stage on the football field.
I know, but
Do you know what I mean?
it is.
Like, I see that as being your biggest stage.
Oh no, it was more
What
difficult
position did you
performing.
play?
Tight end.
I didn't. Okay,
Yeah.
because we talked about this that my
Yeah.
son plays, and we're going to get into what he brought me today about my son who plays football too. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Finish
he's
your
very
story.
talented. I've actually spoke to a few people about your son, actually, that are in the media, in the high school media, and they say nothing but wonderful things about him being an all-around athlete.
He
Et
gets it
cetera.
all from his mother.
I'm sure. Did you do athletics?
I was a volleyball player.
Were you really?
But it was funny because I would tell my kids, I'm like, I was captain my sophomore year and senior year. They're like, Mom, how many girls were on the team?
Hey, no one's checking.
We
right
don't
now.
need to know.
No one's
it was
checking,
about
no.
6 players, right?
There you go. And
And
it's,
3 of us were captain.
and isn't it funny? As the older you get, the more the statistics get better. So if you're talking something like if I had 10 catches one year or 15 catches one year, 20 years later, it's 30 catches. It's 30 because you're like, no one's going to check on
We
this.
can exaggerate.
Exactly.
Nobody's going to check.
No one's going to check.
Fact check.
Once
The
we're done,
schools
we're
not
done.
even open anymore.
Exactly. All the records are sealed. What
Yeah.
are you going to do? But I've lived on that for a while, I think. Talk to some of my friends. They know I lived on that. So when I got to school, I tried to expand my horizons a little bit. And I really enjoyed doing the theater work. And I really enjoyed being around the stage and being around those talented artists and those people that weren't afraid to be who they wanted to be.
Was it like plays or musicals?
I was plays. I had musicals. I can't sing
Oh,
or
I
anything.
was going to have you sing later.
Oh,
but okay,
well,
never
thank
mind.
God. You don't want that to happen. You're going to lose listeners like by the millions. So I dabbled in that. I did a little minor in that, and I majored in communications. Okay.
Okay, wait.
Go ahead.
So we're talking on the phone,
Oh yeah,
and I said, I was a broadcast major and a theater minor.
absolutely.
We were both like, this is weird. I said, wait, we might be related because, we're half Italian too.
Absolutely.
We'll get into that.
We could. We probably see each other at the family
You
reunions.
know how
maybe.
Pittsburgh is.
Yeah, I know, exactly. It's not 7 degrees, it's only 2 degrees. Somebody knows somebody, and that's it.
Yeah. So when you wanted to major in communications and minor in theater, where were you thinking your path was going to go?
Because of my interest in music. Remember, I started to play a little bit when I was younger, and I gave that up. But I always was a avid music listener. I would imbibe everything from opera. My dad was a huge opera fan.
No way.
Oh, when he lifted weights down in the basement, he would listen to all the great arias and all the Richard Tucker and Pavarotti and everybody. So I knew the words to Nessun Dorma before I got the 5th grade. I mean, I knew all the operas and all the arias, Madame Butterfly and everything. So, and that's another thing too is interesting about my father is he's going to be gone 5 years in about a week and a half. Oh, yeah. Thank you. But I don't think he really pursued what he wanted to do. I mean, he has a family. He had to provide for his family, and he was a Boilermaker for 30 years, and he provided for his family. But he was a wonderful artist. I told you on the phone. Is that where I learned how to draw the human figure? Because he would do the New York Times crossword puzzle, and all around it, while he was thinking, he would sketch. So I would have the Pittsburgh Press. That's how old I am. The Pittsburgh Press would be in front of it, and it would be covered with art. And of course, the crossword puzzle would be done in about 15 minutes. Wow. But he would sit there and sketch the whole way. And then his interest in music, that's where I got it. And that thus led to that. And the interesting thing about the music part was, and I told you this on the phone, is how I ended up working for some record labels.
I know. Can I audition for you? You know any people now?
Well, not anymore.
I wanted to be a singer.
Oh, there you go.
That was my, dream, was to be a singer. But I, like you said, I didn't have the confidence. We didn't have the money. I didn't have the lessons, a single mom and trying to, you just know that your path, maybe that love is just a hobby for you. It couldn't be a career. But what about your sisters? Did any of them do any art stuff?
No.
So nobody really got into singing?
Actually, not art, but my older sister used to play piano concerts all the time.
Oh, okay.
And they both sang in chorus and things like that. My little sister, since you were the last in your class, my little sister was the last in the class at Sacred Heart before it closed.
No way.
Yeah, turned into Oakland Catholic. She was the last one there. So maybe they closed because of her.
Yeah, I know, right. Are we the same age? How old is your sister?
She's 2 years younger than me, so she's 50.
I'm 53.
There you go.
We probably played volleyball against each other.
You probably did at some point. No, she was a cheerleader, so I don't think she did.
She was there cheering.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what she did. And my older sister actually teaches with me at Riverview, and she's been teaching just as long as I have, a little bit longer than I have actually. She started in Wilkinsburg School District, and she always wanted to be a teacher. She's wonderful with the kids. She's empathetic, and she really works well with the special ed kids that we work with. Now, me, I think it depends on the day. I don't know if I'm as tolerant. I try to be as authentic, as you say. I try to be as authentic as I can be with the kids. And everybody has bad days. So they know when I'm having a bad day or when things are getting...
And they're having a bad day too.
And my sister, always positive.
She must be.
Always positive.
Yeah. So going back to, I interrupted you.
No. We're meandering.
We're Pittsburghers, okay?
Yeah, so we'll just gab.
We gab, and we go down these roads.
Yes, absolutely.
We have so many of these. But I know I'm terrible at keeping the
No, that's fine.
Going on the same path. But when you were talking about going to school at the University of Penn, for football, you were talking about how you majored in communications and you minored in theater. Correct. And I think I asked you this, and I can't remember. What did you want to do with that?
Yeah, I think we got off track. Because of my love of music, I always was around it. So there was a place, and I just actually spoke to somebody that knew about the record store that we used to go to. It was called Discovery Discs. And he went to Drexel. And he used to go and spend as much money in the places I did, just buying CDs.
Where was it at? Downtown?
It was in the student
downtown.
No, it was not downtown. It was in the student union. So we would go down
you're
there.
talking
So when
about
I was cutting
filling.
class,
Okay.
I would go down there and hang out in the record store. Yes, exactly. So
Your students are going to be listening.
I know
to this.
they will, but they know because I tell them. So I wanted something in music. I had, and I told you this about, I had been a doorman. In the summers, I was hired I used to work at the Grand Concourse in high school as a busboy.
Oh my gosh,
And I
that's
never
so
did
great,
any
too.
work. I never did any work. And my sister was a bus person as well.
Yeah.
And she did all the work and I made all the money because I would be talking to everybody.
Oh,
And then the
you were like the
waitress
host
would be tipping
with the
me.
most.
Exactly. And then she would be running around collecting soup and salad bowls and everything. And I'd be talking in the corner. The manager from the Grand Concourse then moved over to Hula Hands in Station Square. Okay. And for those of us that are our age, Hula Hands and Chauncey's were a very big place to hang out.
Chauncey's
Yes.
and that.
So whenever he moved over to Station Square, he asked me to come and do the door. So I would check IDs,
But
and
you
I
were
would
like
be a
the
bouncer. I
bouncer.
would. There was,
You were the bouncer.
and to show you how popular it was, there were 4 bouncers on at once at Hula Hands. That's
Hooligans.
yeah.
But see, I always thought Hooligans was just a restaurant bar, but it wasn't like a
Oh no!
dance club.
After a certain
Oh,
point
I'm
of time, it
thinking
turned into.
Chauncey's.
Well, Chauncey's was
There
the
was
big
definitely,
dance club
yeah,
down.
there was definitely.
And I did some some other work there, like I would go and bounce to fill in and things like that.
I
So
probably saw you there.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But we would have a lot of the big stars come in. Brian Hinkle, a lot of the Steelers would come in, and Jimmy Crenn from WDV used to come in, and we used to hang out together. And Jimmy and I really got along well. He was in the morning drive with Scott Paulson.
The radio, yes.
He said to me, he actually came up to watch me play against Yale one. And he said, "What are you doing next year?" I said, "I don't know." He goes, "Well, do you want an internship at DVE?" So I took an internship at with WDV, and Val, who just left the morning show, Val Porter, and I were in the same apprenticeship class. So we did an internship there with Anthony Alfonsi. From there, I got my addiction to music. I just started talking to the record people, and from there, I ended up working in the record business. And after I left Penn, I had some connections from Penn, who's the doctor from the Sixers. His name was Dr. Ezra Deutsch. His brother was a vice president at Capitol Records. So one person led to another.
That's one thing about the Ivy League.
Absolutely.
Connections.
Well, I would play tennis with. I would hit tennis with Charles Barkley and Mike Jaminski, and all the Sixers used to come in. And John Hall, Darryl Hall and John Oates used to come in because they're Philadelphia guys.
Oh my God!
So John Oates was a pretty decent tennis player. So we would hit and hang out and talk to each other. And then I ended up so I would come and see you as a singer. I would come and see you and sit in the club and say, "Okay, you're talented. Let's start demo. Let's talk about money. Let's talk about this and the other thing." And I would go see bands from Wednesday to Saturday after I left, and then bounce around. But that industry is so tenuous when it comes to employment.
Pittsburgh really had that
industry here. No, because I was in New York for a little bit, and I did a little bit of in Cleveland and Akron and all over the place. So it was a very transient career, and the money itself was great. The money was okay, but it was the ability to hang out with the people, like the bands that I used to hang out with. The headliners would come in and you would be able to go backstage and hang out and talk with them and just chat with them. Yeah, exactly. So you got kind of addicted to that.
Right. You got to go wine and dine.
You get to be backstage at Guns N' Roses and Metallica and all those guys that used to come in and REM.
Darn it, why didn't I know you, PJ?
Well,
I could have got backstage passes.
You could have. I could have.
Jovi.
I would have let you there. Sure. He was from Jersey, so absolutely. I became good friends with a kid named Stan Ridgway, who was the lead singer of a band called Wall of Voodoo. He used to have a single called Mexican Radio, very big in the 90s. Long story, even longer.
But did you love doing that?
I was not part of the creative process. And inside me...
You were kind of like a decision maker.
Yes, but inside me, I knew that I couldn't play guitar. I couldn't sing. I was okay. I had an ear for hearing songs and things like that. But I felt like I was disingenuous because I would tell you were a good guitar player when I couldn't do anything that you did. You see, there was a disconnect there.
Right.
So I felt at one point, and some things had happened with some people I was dealing with in Island Records and things like that. And I said, this is it. I can't do this because, again, I was pretending to be something I wasn't.
Right. But I think that, like, our paths, sometimes that we go through we think that this is the avenue. Like
You
you know
try.
somebody, and then
Yeah.
you know how Pittsburgh. Hey, I know a guy, and you can go. Everybody knows somebody.
But some people get very
They get
set in their
locked in,
ways, and they
yes.
lock in, and then all of a sudden 30 years are gone.
Right.
And I said, I can't exist in this business with this kind of things going on around me for 30 years. I don't know anybody that does. Now,
Right.
the other thing that also happened is in the 90s is when the internet started coming in. So my job is going to see you sing just became, you just use this machine to go see it.
Yes.
So the people that did my job is like what I used to say is like a stagecoach driver. They just don't exist anymore. So I saw the writing on the wall there too. And when I came back home, my mother stared at me and says, "You're going back to school. If you're going to come back here, you got to go back to school. What are you going to go back to
Well,
school
you had
for?"
your bachelor's in
Yes. Well, but in communications.
Yeah.
But that was still tangential to what I was doing, and I wanted to get away from that. And then I started volunteering at the YMCA out here in the South Hills and doing like youth soccer nights and things like that. So I'm very familiar with
So you
Peters
went from
Township and
one
McMurray
thing
Elementary.
from like wining and dining and going from the
It was
music
quite a change.
industry to going to YMCA.
It was quite a change.
That
And I
is
was
really
chasing toddlers around and telling them to stay behind the line while
You're
they're
like,
kicking a
"Wait
big
a second.
Nerf ball.
I was just
Yeah.
bouncing
Yeah.
and being at concerts
And
and doing all
And
that.
I tried not to sound like the guy that's saying I've been everywhere. You know, and it was
But
very interesting.
I mean,
though.
this is you're only talking about like you come out of college, you go into
These
the
are
music
20s.
industry,
Yeah.
then you're doing stuff at the
Yeah.
YMCA. Like
So mid to late 20s.
but before, and I'm sorry, I stop interrupting, Jenny. Stop
No,
interrupting.
please.
But we did talk about when he was talking about an internship. I did an internship at Wish.
Yes, you did. That's
99.7,
right.
So I did the radio,
So you know
and then
that.
I went to New York looking for something in soap operas, maybe.
Oh, really?
But no, MTV is where I wanted.
Oh, okay. So, and
Yeah.
I ended up on MTV Sports.
See, he lived my dream.
No. I went up there and the MTV Sports did a movie. Now, I don't know if you know this, but the host from MTV Sports, Dan Cortez, if you remember him,
I know that name.
he went to Quaker Valley.
Oh wow!
Yes, he actually
See,
was.
we have so many connections on this.
He was a scholarship athlete. I believe that he went to the University of North Carolina on a football scholarship. And we had run into each other at some point, and I had sent him stuff. And then one day I got a call and said, "Come up to Manhattan because we're going to film an MTV Sports movie."
Yeah.
So I went up and saw it. Now you can't find it anywhere on YouTube. Trust me, because I get nostalgic every once in a while and try to find it, and it's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore.
And I think that the
It's in
VHS
the
tape that was
archives.
on,
Yeah, right.
I think it got flooded or something, so it's
Well,
gone.
Think about the technology now. There's no way. Like I guess you can convert a VHS.
No, well, you can.
To some.
You do the DVD, or you can actually put. But
Think about your music industry, though. There were CDs, right? And
CDs and
cassette tapes.
Well, there were no.
Wow,
I was CDs. It was CDs. CDs just came out. So yes,
if
they were the new
anybody,
technology.
Under what age? They're probably like, "What are they?
What are they talking about?
Like you put a cassette in your car."
Yeah, that's an interesting thing too. Is because when I teach, those guys keep me young because I understand what's going on, and I try to. I don't want to be the cool teacher. I never did. I just want to let them be who they want to be. But I also here with another year in. Keep up on what's going on and what they're into, good or bad, but what they're into because that enables me to talk to them.
With kids.
I do, and as much as I try to say that it's just something I do or a job that is important to me, but it's not my love.
Right.
I told you I have a piece of paper in my desk. It says it may not be the job that you love to do, but it's the job you're meant to do.
Exactly.
So when I help somebody that's having trouble learning, when I help somebody that's having issues socially or emotionally and teach them and have them get through problems, it's a lot more gratifying than anything I could have ever done in any other business.
The mark that you're making for children, they remember their teachers. So you were like a soccer, you went into the YMCA, and then is that when you went into the teaching?
Yes, I was running a basketball camp at Johnston Elementary in Upper St. Clair with about 40 or 50 third graders, myself. And the director came by, Joan Clark, who's now passed, but she was absolutely wonderful.
How do you remember all these names?
And I'll tell you why. It's because she walked in and stuck her face into the camp and said, "Do you have a teaching degree?" That's exactly. She didn't even say hello. She said, "Do you have a teaching degree?" I said, "No, I don't want to be a teacher." And she says, we need a phys ed teacher. Would you like to run phys ed? And we can put you in an emergency certification as long as you enroll in school, because it was a
You had to
private
go.
school.
Yeah, you had to go.
So I said,
Classes.
sure, that's fine. And then that's what the whole role. So I stayed there for almost 3.5 years, and got my master's degree. I got my certifications in
Oh,
my
he's
master's
got a
degree.
master's. I've got a bachelor's. He's ahead of me.
And then Riverview, my sister was teaching at Riverview, and they had an opening. And I tell you right now, I enjoy teaching high school, but the people that teach grade school, they're amazing. I could not do that
My
with,
sister.
at least I can relate sometimes. Oh,
Yeah.
they are amazingly talented, organized, dedicated. Anybody
I
that
always
teaches
tell
middle
her,
school or below,
you're underpaid.
unbelievable. Now in high school, people say, well, you have these issues, but at least at some point or on some level, you can have a discourse with them. If I get a third grader, it's not going to happen,
It's
and
not the
it's
same,
just
yeah.
simply not the same. So it's a different breed of person that does that.
Oh,
And I have the utmost
I give
respect for them.
teachers a lot of credit. I give you a lot of credit because it does weigh on you. But when you were teaching, like, did you feel like were you like doing sketches like your dad, or were you like
Oh, that's
like
funny.
what was your like? When did you really get
Because
into this?
students used to always come into my room and say, look, I have a report on Abraham Lincoln. Can you draw his face real fast so I can color it in? And I was like, sure. And then I'm doing a report on this.
Did you have to look at the picture to do it?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, and it depends on what they wanted. But they would say, okay, I have to do something about my dad's house. And it looks like this. And I would sketch it out. And, oh, my God, that looks like my dad's house. I said, okay, good, you're gone. So it was a way of connecting with the students. Okay. It was a way, not teaching art and not doing their art projects, but actually helping them do other things. And then it was therapeutic because I've had a few students in the past that have really wanted to pursue art. And it was my way to connect them with them. They would come in with a sketchbook. I've given sketchbooks to a lot of people. They go have fun. And if they're bored in study hall, instead of messing around or getting into trouble, go sketch something or go, develop something.
That's so
And
true,
they may not be very good at it, but at least they're trying to bring out what's inside of them and put it on paper, because it's very therapeutic to do that. For me right now with my art,
how'd you get started? Tell us about your wife. Yes.
Okay.
I love this story.
Prior to COVID, just before COVID hit.
Everything's like right before.
Yeah, right before COVID. We were watching a TV program called Psych, which was one of our favorite TV programs. Very funny program. A lot of 80s references. It's Sean and
you mean like Psych? You know how we used to we would tell a joke and be like Psych instead of just kidding.
It's actually spelled that way, but they were the one kid was a supposedly psychic detective, and they would solve crimes that way. And it's very funny. Has a lot of 80s references and music references, so we loved it.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. So in that program, one of the people bought an apartment or rented their first apartment, and there was this huge mural on the back. And we had just bought a house out in Pine, and my wife said, can we get that print for the house? Yeah. So I looked up the print, and the print ran about almost $6,000 for the print. And it was probably the size of a backdrop.
That was a couple of years ago.
That was a couple of years ago. So the next day, my wife said to me, you were pretty good at art. And I said, yeah, but I've never painted. At that point, I never touched acrylic. I was only pencil sketch. I'd never painted at all. And she goes, I bet you can paint that. I'm like, I can't paint that. The next day, of course, with my wife, I love her to death. Her name's Kat. Show up. I come home from school, and there is a 48 by 36 canvas and a set of paints.
I love it.
And she said, get it done.
Yes.
So I said, okay, I'll try it. And then we went into COVID, so I had time. And that piece, which is the very first on my Instagram page, if you scroll all the way down, the very first piece, it was a rusted out motel sign. And that is hanging in our dining room as today, because it came out really nice. It really did. I thought I did a nice job on it. And that is what leads to the name of my website is Rust Pop by PJ, because at the very beginning, I did a lot of pop art and a lot of rusty things that were buried. I did a school bus that was buried in a rusty school bus buried in a field.
That's true.
And things like that. So when I first started, that was the subject matter I would stick with until I started feeling a little more confident that I was doing. Somebody had asked
Where would you find these pictures? You just
You could do them on the internet. I would find them in various books that we had in the house.
okay.
I actually took a
Did
few.
you ever like drive in the car and see something?
100%, yes.
You're like, I want to draw that.
I've done that. I've done that before. I've taken pictures in a dangerous way. There were two pieces I did of when I go to work, I take 910. And 910 has a rise over top, and you can see Cheswick and Springdale.
Yeah.
And there's a power plant there. So in the mornings, all the light comes up with the sun, and I taking pictures while I'm driving over the steering wheel.
Listen.
Wow, and use those as the basis for art. So wherever I see it, and wherever I've done, I see things that are interesting. I try to put my own spin on it. So I went from the signs to cars, and then very good friend of mine, Tracy at Little Birdie Antiques in Butler, came by one time, and she saw the pieces, and she said, "Can I put a couple of these in my store?" I'm like, "Sure. Why would you want them? Go ahead, take them."
So
And
you don't see the value that other people see.
well, she started, it started getting a lot of publicity and a lot of buzz. And I said,
Because
okay,
then
that's
people are
great.
like, "Hey, where'd you get that?
Exactly.
Can I get one of those?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I did a painting of our dog one time, and that has led to multiple commissions to do people's dogs.
People love pictures of their dog.
Unfortunately, I would say 85% of my dogs are posthumous.
Oh.
Yeah, I get them right after they've passed, and then they're like, "Okay, can you do my dog?"
But you know what?
But you
That's
have
what
to do it
want.
right,
Yeah.
because
it's
if you
a
don't,
memory of.
yeah, if you don't capture the dog the right way. I mean, I'm a dog person from way back. I've always had dogs, and I have two little ones at home, two little teacup Yorkies. The loudest dogs on the block.
Oh no, not my beagles are loud.
Oh, your beagles are louder. I'll give you that. Your beagles are louder.
We can have a test.
Oh no, I don't want to do that. My older ears won't take that. So, and then it grew from there. And one of the reasons why that we were together is because I branched into a lot of vintage Pittsburgh stuff. And most of that is attached to my history. And what I mean by that is I've done pictures of the Upstage, which was a band or a club place that was in Oakland. They had a lot of modern, postmodern rock, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I did the Electric Banana, which was the punk club that was on top of Oakland. And I've done a lot of different other things that deal with punk issues and musical issues. And I've done things with Sex Pistols and Pearl Jam images and things like that, because that's what I know and that's what I love.
Right.
Now, and I know your next question is, why the Mohawk?
I was going to say, if you are not watching this on YouTube and you're listening to this, PJ has a mohawk and he has earrings in.
It is 100% a poser.
I've never seen him before until now.
It is 100% a poser mohawk, and I'll tell you why.
What does that mean?
My wife is believe it or not, my wife is the legitimate punker. When she was younger, she was the girl in the black leather with the Liberty spikes and everything.
Really?
The reason I have this mohawk is because of my students. And I'll tell you why. It's because when we went and broke out for COVID, I teach students that sometimes don't want to come to school or don't, and let alone log in.
I get it.
Let alone log in.
My middle son was like,
so what I did was I promised them is that when we went out, I'll shave my head into a mohawk and I will spike it and make it different colors.
"You're kidding."
Or make it different so that you have to log in to see what I look like.
Oh my gosh.
So-
dude, that is so cool.
So whenever I went
Like, I
back
would
to
log
school, when I went back, I have a very gracious principal that said, "Yeah, you can leave it if you want. I don't care. It's not a big deal."
No
So
way.
I've left it. Now,
It's like your
on my
signature.
personal side,
I'm
it's
gonna
nice
paint
to-
it.
it's
I'm
nice
gonna
to
paint and draw his picture.
it's nice to shave off the gray hair that's on the side. And at least I can grow in the middle there. I get a lot of people my age saying, I have the exact reverse haircut.
I was going to tell you that most of the time they're getting the side.
They have the
and not
reverse
the
mohawk.
very top,
Yes, exactly. I had somebody, I was
Yeah,
speaking
you
to
don't have a
somebody
lot of
yesterday.
maintenance, you know?
Exactly. And the kids are like, how do you, and they always ask why I don't have it all the way down in the back. And I always tell them I can't,
Like a tail.
yeah, I can't shave back there because I can't see back there. Also,
Right.
I have, my skull back there is a little tough to, and I would be cutting myself up every day. So I have to cut it off a little bit here.
Mohawks were big when we were young. Like when
They
our
were.
generation.
Yeah.
They were pretty big. Like a lot of people had mohawks. They were really cool.
I wasn't scared to do anything with my hair because when I was a senior at Central, there used to be a linebacker at Oklahoma. His name was Brian Bosworth, and he used to have lines in his head. So of course, when you're in high school, you have to have. I put lines and dyed them in my hair and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So messing with your hair was always it was an easy way to be dangerous, but it would always come back. So if you messed up,
Right.
it would grow back in.
It's true.
So
You
it
could
wasn't a
always-
permanent.
Guys could always just wear a hat.
If you notice, I don't have any tattoos because I
I'm
just,
surprised.
well, because,
being an artist, I'm surprised.
well, because,
I have 3.
do you?
Yeah, this is my podcast and this is my kids' initials.
And maybe I wouldn't have said this before, but I'm scared to death.
Oh my gosh.
I am. I'm a chicken. I may be a
It
big
doesn't-
guy, but I'm
listen,
chicken.
if I can do it, you can do it. It doesn't hurt at all.
Well,
Here's
the
the
other-
thing: you get one, you want more than one. My husband's up to 6.
But see, here's the thing too: is I never liked anything that much to put it on my body forever. If that was the case, like back in the day, I'd have like Pink Floyd on the,
I know.
and I'd have like Led Zeppelin
The
down
worst is like an old girlfriend or something.
there. Yeah, exactly.
An
You
old
have to have-
boyfriend, you have their name, and you're like, "Crap! How do I get this off?"
what did Jimmy Buffett say? It's a permanent reminder of a temporary feeling.
I know, right?
So I always tempered that whenever I thought
Yeah.
about getting one at one point or another. That was the decision.
Yeah.
So those parts and those things that I picked up in Pittsburgh remind me of the memories I had and the good times that I had. And I do. There's the scene in the one from the Scotty's Diner, which was a diner literally a block away from my house, and we would come home after bouncing, and it would be 3 a.m, and we would go to Scotty's, and my buddy and I would sit in Scotty's, and we would make sure that no one was acting up in Scotty's, and then
Yeah.
they would feed us for free.
Right.
So there
Yeah,
are
'cause especially 3:00 in the morning.
3:00 in the
There's
morning
not
on a
lot of
Saturday night.
places that are
Yeah.
open 24 hours.
well, there were back then.
Remember
Ritters used to be
Eden
open all
Park,
the time. Eden
Ritters,
Park,
yeah.
but they're all gone now. I mean,
know.
it's a little tougher now, and I wouldn't be able to do that job now. It's a lot more dangerous than it was back then.
Times have changed.
Times have changed. So, but it did open doors in another manner. So I think it's a tribute from me to put that on canvas. And a lot of people feel the same way. And it's interesting to connect with people. When somebody talks about the electric banana and they see the artwork and then they say, oh, I remember hanging out there and I saw this person here and that person there and friends here and friends there. And I've done one with streetcars, a few streetcars.
Oh my God, that's right. We had
yeah.
streetcars.
I was very proud that I did a piece of a streetcar outside the Civic Arena, and that hangs in the Penguins offices now.
Oh, you're
So
kidding.
yeah, so I was very proud of that.
I didn't realize we were here with a celebrity.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think so, but it evokes memories for people.
Don't
And-
you just love though, PJ, when you do this drawing, painting, and you realize and somebody loves it as much as you love it. What's that feeling like?
It's a lot of pride that I could convert my ideas and my memories and my emotions and then be able to connect with somebody, because it was very tough for me when I was younger to connect with people because I was always doing something that I wasn't 100% bought in.
Right.
And so you always feel like you're hiding
always
something.
looking for approval.
Well, you always feel, you're always, and you always look like sometimes you're hiding something. And to actually legitimately connect with somebody, more so when I see pictures and I've been in houses where my pieces are hanging in their house and they see them every day. And they say to me, there's a few people that are connected with Riverview School District that have pieces of their family. There was one piece I did of the Oakland Fire Department. And he was a chief of the fire department, and the family's all in the fire department, and they have their hats or their helmets lined up in front of the piece. I mean, you can't get any better than that. The pride is unbelievable. And I have people that have them in their living room, so when they wake up every morning and have their coffee, my art is there. And it's astounding.
They have a piece of you.
I feel blessed every time that happens. And the things I appreciate most are when people send me pictures of the art hanging in their house.
Well, okay. So when saying that, so when I actually interviewed a woman who is the executive director for Susan G. Komen, which is she's Molly Sweet. She's friends with
Molly's
PJ.
wonderful.
And we're Zooming, and I'm talking to her on the phone,
I know.
I do sound old. But I'm looking at the background. I see this painting, and it's the Heinz ketchup.
Yes.
And I'm like, hey, where'd you get that? Because I loved the way it looked, because it had that older look. And
Thank you.
I was like, wow, vintage. And I was like, and she goes, oh my gosh, you got to meet my friend PJ. And that's when it spiraled into.
That's what it did? I didn't know where that was.
Yes.
That's phenomenal.
Because, when I saw that, I was like, oh, you got to meet, he is so talented. And that's when we reached out to each other, because I looked at all your stuff on Instagram and I thought, you know what? Everybody's got such a talent. And everybody has a passion. in their life. And it's just if you want to pursue it, because you always feel like I took a leap during COVID doing
Yeah.
this show,
And
coming
look
out.
at you.
And
And you're
I
phenomenal.
would have never met PJ. I would have
Oh,
never
yeah.
phenomenal. Yeah, okay.
Oh, you're doing great. I
I'm
was
like, no,
intimidated.
Robin.
I was very intimidated.
Oh my! I know. When I spoke to PJ, he's such a nice guy, and that's why I love my Pittsburgh people. I'm sure there's tons of people across
I was
across
honored
the
to be
world,
called.
but
That was amazing.
he was even saying like, "Oh, maybe I'm not that interesting." I'm thinking, PJ, I know. I used to think that too about myself, and I used to never want to share my stories, but I was sharing everybody else's story, and I realized that we all have something to give. We all have something that we're passionate about, and that we feel like, and that's the one thing about Pittsburgh, that we are so good to each other.
Yeah.
When we see somebody,
agree.
and that's what they
I
always
agree.
say about, like, somebody comes that's not from Pittsburgh, and they're looking for somewhere, like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't know where to go. We don't just tell them directions. We tell them to follow.
Yes,
Like,
exactly. Come, I'll take you. I'll pick up this one.
That's
Yeah.
how we are. But
Yeah, absolutely.
when I saw that painting, I was just like, wow,
That interesting. The original painting of that was done for a person that worked for Heinz for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So they wanted that in their home, and it was just in the pictures on the
How did
website.
you get that?
I do prints.
So I was going to say,
Yes.
how many? Okay, you probably can't answer. What would you say? How many paintings have you?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. And one of the things that my wife is very funny about is she realizes I paint really fast. So I'll paint in the mornings. I love her to death, but she is so committed. She gets up for 4:30 in the morning for the gym.
Yeah.
So if
Oh,
she's up,
she's
I'm
good.
up.
Yeah.
So, and then the puppies are up. So when the pups are up, I paint in the morning before I go to school. So, for
I was gonna
example,
say, when
your
do you
piece
have
right
time? 'Cause
there,
you're working.
I do that in the morning, just in the morning, because I enjoy it so much
Yeah.
that it's not, the time slips by. And sometimes she'll yell at me and she'll say, you were downstairs for 4 hours.
Oh my
And I totally
gosh.
missed 3-4 things. And she's like, you were painting and I didn't want to bother you.
Oh.
And
Well, you get on a roll. Right?
exactly, you get on a roll and you want to finish this part, or you want to get the color right. Mostly for me, is when I get the color mixed right. I don't want to waste that. So if I have the color,
I was going to say,
correct,
does it dry out, or like do you have to?
acrylic dries very fast.
Yes.
I work in acrylic. I tried a few oil paintings and they mix a lot better. Like there's a blending that's a lot better, but boy, they take forever to dry.
Do you ever think about teaching?
No, because I can't teach it.
Oh.
I don't. And I thought about. Well, I did think about it, but I can't teach. I just go and do it. It's just more fun for me that way. It's more a way of shutting down. I used to do it a lot with albums and a lot of music, and go into my world that way. And the art has taken that part, and it's calmed me a lot too. My wife has commented that I used to be a lot more quick to judge people,
right?
And
I think,
when we're not true to ourselves, then we are very quick to judge other people.
Right.
But if you're true and you're honest, then you say, okay, that's him. That's their existence in life. That's what they want to do. That's the person they are. I'm here. We can exist. We can coexist.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it has calmed me a lot. And it's also had me appreciate a lot of the things that you see in life. You appreciate the relationships you make with other people. Now, I've done a few portraits. Scared me when I first started to do portraits, because I've seen portraits and some of the portraits aren't very good, and they don't look like people.
We're in the library. There's one in the library right now, and I feel like she's looking at me.
I don't know what that woman looks like. I don't know if that looks like her, but you can be very critical about that.
Usually like someone who's passed that they want a picture of?
I've done one or two of those. Those are very unnerving because they're important. They were for the actual service. So the judgment is through the roof on that. So that I'm not going to paint that fast. I don't care how fast I paint. I'm going to make sure that every inch is done. And I teach a lot of the classes I've taught in the past are math based, algebra. I've taught English, but the algebra comes involved in what I do. It's very mathematical the way I do things. So if I were to paint your face, there is a ratio between eyes, nose, and mouth. There is. And you have to make sure that it's right on. And some people's are a little different here and there. So you have to be mathematically correct.
So if we put a line straight down our nose, we're probably not the exact same on each side.
The only thing that's really, that I've learned, and I have not been educated art-wise, I was never taught fine arts. But the one thing rule that always comes back is eyes were always in the middle of the head no matter what. So your eyes are always halfway between here and here. and then you work off of that.
That's interesting.
It is. It's mathematical, and the left side and the right side are not mirrors.
Symmetrical,
They're not. They're complete. In some cases, they're completely different, and that's where the character of the person comes in.
It's so interesting. Nowadays, you can get plastic surgery to make yourself.
And I think sometimes when you are too symmetrical, it takes the character out, and it makes it more formulaic rather than original. So I've done a few of those, but I do it with my own spin.
What's your favorite to do?
My favorite to do?
Yeah.
I enjoy doing dogs, doing pups, and doing buildings, buildings that have history. There was a punk store in Philadelphia called Zipperhead. I did a piece on them, and Zipperhead was the greatest place on South Street to go to get any kind of avant-garde clothing you needed. And it was one of those welcoming places that some people may be intimidated to go in, but when you walk in, they say, "Hi, how you doing?" And the guy may have a huge mohawk and earrings and tattoos on his face and neck and everywhere else, but he says, "Hey, how you doing today? And what can I help you with?" And
don't judge people.
Yeah, exactly. And it was very open and an honest place. And I figured I'd do a tribute to that because I did hang out there when I was in school. I would go down there and I couldn't buy a lot there.
You were kind of painting it through your life too. You're painting your memories. And
well, I think in art you always have yourself in there. If you're painting for other people, then I don't think there's any soul in it. Does that make sense?
I get it.
You've got to put some of your caring. I've painted some people that are very important to me, especially in my youth. And those tributes, I want to make sure that they're perfect, but they also express my gratitude for some of the things they've done. Right. I did a painting of a coach of mine that I still hang out with, and I was very proud of it because
that's so nice.
Well, I was very proud of it because it showed that the respect I had for him, and it let me convey that being thankful for what he had done for me. Right. Because there are still quotes that he has said to me that I still carry on.
Well, guess what? So, the impact that you're doing with your students, maybe they'll paint you.
Well, that's
But you do. There's people in your life that you want to kind of show them appreciation, and that's how you do through your art.
That's why you do what you do. Is because you want to get people out there, and you want to be the conduit to bring people out to others.
I thank you. I believe that people need that platform because I feel like we are all doing such good work. We're all trying to navigate this world and try to find our passion. And I'm just like, I was just so fascinated by when I saw your because I'm like, you've only been doing this for
not even like maybe 4.5 years. Yeah.
And you already do you have like right now, what are you painting?
Right now, when I'm painting, I just ended up with somebody that asked me, I'm doing the old Wilkinsburg Isleys. There's the old Isleys. That was yes, exactly. So I used to walk past it. I went to St. James in Wilkinsburg. Yeah. So I used to walk past it every day, and they had contacted me and said, I remember the Isleys in Wilkinsburg. Is there any way? And I'm like, absolutely, there's a way to do it. So, somebody else the other day just contacted me for a piece for Christmas of their daughter, their granddaughter, and their pup looking out the window.
Oh my God.
It's exceptional. Adorable. And I did something for somebody's wedding just recently too.
Wow.
Was a picture of them walking near the house that they met at. They had a house party or something like that. But it came out really nice. It was really nice.
How do people find you?
Oh, well, you can find me on Facebook.
So what is your...
It's PJ Smerdel, Smerdel. It's on Facebook. Now, on Instagram, I go by Rust Pop.
RUST.
RUSTPOP _ PJ _ It's just a way of saying it.
Yeah.
So my wife came up with that name. I told you about how they did it with the signs.
Right.
So I want to stick with that. And a lot of people either by Facebook or
so if somebody out there is listening or viewing this and they're like, oh my gosh, I would love, if PJ could do this for me. What's the best way? Would they contact you through Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram. Yeah, you can you can message me through there. That's probably the easiest way.
Okay.
That's the way a lot of people have done.
But do you have you don't have a gallery or anywhere?
I've not been in. There are so many phenomenal artists in Pittsburgh.
I was going to say.
Oh my God, Mike Schiavone. I can say Kevin Schmiedlin. Absolutely phenomenal people. They have their gallery shows and they do excellent work. I would only hope to be some at that point somewhere, but
if you're listening and you got a gallery,
the good thing is that I would love to, but that seems to be. I'm still try to be I'm very humble about what I do.
I was going to say, don't you
I
dare
don't.
say that you're not as good as
I don't think I'm as good as them. I'm going to
Nobody
say
does. Yeah, but I'm like, okay, so wait.
they do so much wonderful
Stop.
creative work.
PJ is too humble. Look at how cute this is. So if you're only listening to this is so adorable. So this is like a little
2.5 inches by 2.5
2.5 inch like easel.
Yes, with the easel. It's called
Easel.
Restpop Desktop, I call it,
Oh
because
my gosh.
some people don't have the room for artwork, and they would like, that's your son, on the field.
I wanted to cry because it is so adorable. It's him in his jersey throwing the football. He's a quarterback and his number 17. And just like the detail that you've done in here,
thank you.
Like with the bleachers
Thank
and
you.
the field.
And he wears the Under Armours and stuff like that, and then the gold sleeve.
Like every little detail. So you found this picture.
I found that picture, and now that is so small. At some points, it's very difficult to get the detail of the faces and stuff like that.
How do you get in this?
Oh, well, you try to do more of an essence of what's there rather than what's there, because obviously your brain will fill in the gaps.
Yes.
So, but I do small stuff like this because people, and I do a lot of the Sidney Crosby's and the Evgeny Malkins. I did some Steelers stuff.
Talk about those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
and
so
people,
nice.
love their Sidney Crosby's and they love their Evgeny Malkins and Chris Letang's, and I've done some. I did a lot of ghosts for Halloween and little stuff for Halloween. Yes, exactly. And I try to do the offbeat stuff. Some of them were a little creepy while I was painting them. I was a little creeped out when I was painting, so I didn't want to do the
Listen, that would scare me.
Exactly. So they're a little creepy, but so some of these.
You can paint anything.
I don't want to say anything, but I can try.
I feel like you could. I feel like if you saw a picture of something, you have that memory of like you could just make it into your piece. But I feel like you could do anything.
Yeah,
that's such
thank you. I appreciate
that. Like you understand. There's so many. I mean, I can't. I do a stick figure.
I will try. It just seemed like I wanted to relate what I see. I wanted to relate life how I saw it, and I wanted to relate the memories that I have. And it seems to come out that way. And again, you asked me if I could teach art. I don't think I could teach it because I don't know. I feel what I'm doing. I don't really technically know what I'm doing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If it looks good, then I know it looks good. And then I do have a group of people that I send out pieces to and say, you got to tell me whether this is good or not. And they're very honest with me. One of them is my wife. She'll say, that looks like crap. You got to go back downstairs because that doesn't look good at all. And she'll tell me directly, and that's why I appreciate it. That's why I love her. Right. So, but there are a series of people that I get in contact with and say, okay, this is the person, and this is the dog. Yeah. I have special people that I only send dogs to, and they say, okay, yeah, that's right on, or no, you need to change the eyes a little bit. And then I'll also do little things like there was a dog. I did a painting of a dog who passed that always watched the Steelers. So I did a huge painting of them, and then I put the Steelers diamonds in their eye. So you could only see it if you knew it was there. And the owner was very appreciative of that. So little things, little sneak things like that.
I'm sure they
just to try to personalize it for
like
people.
Everything you do. And when you said that you can't teach it, you're teaching right now with your story. Because I know he said, I have a boring story. Your story, your journey through life. You're telling people like, you know what, don't stop. Do something that you enjoy, and it's for you, it became a calming place. You enjoy it. You get that satisfaction when somebody sees something. Like I was like, just so
thank you.
Unbelievably thrilled that I would have never even thought what a nice thing to even think about to do is to do this nice thing.
And not to get too serious on it, but the interesting thing is that when I started painting, I used to look back. Oh, I did this when I was younger. Oh, I did this when I was younger. Oh, I did this. And I remember when this. Now it's, what's the next painting? I'm looking, it's turned me towards, hey, okay, I'm 56.
You look forward.
That's fine. Thank you. You can put those glasses back on. Those nice glasses you wore. But those, yeah, exactly. You can't, I'm over here. But it's made me turn and not, no one likes the person at the bar that talks about everything it used to be. You got to talk about things that are happening in the future. Right. Exactly. And everybody has a history. Everybody's done everything. And as I said before, and I've said before, a lot of people do the embellishment or the hyperbole of what happened too. And I was doing that at some point, and I was only living on what was happening. And then when this came along, it turned me, and now I'm excited about what's happening. Now I am retiring in 4 years from teaching,
Right.
but now I'm looking forward to maybe doing some shows and getting out there a little bit more, because I've only done maybe a handful of shows, maybe 5 or 6, where I've had a table and I brought my art, and especially with the Edgewood Foundation in Edgewood, who does some great work. I was just there the other night. I did 7 wine pieces for their.
I was going to say, do you do any for like silent auctions?
I've done things
like
for
that?
silent auctions. I've done things for charity
For
before.
charity, okay.
I've done some things with. I frequently go to Penguin games. So the Harp and Fiddle is a bar that's down in the Strip. It's an Irish pub down there.
Oh yeah.
I have a few pieces that are hanging in the pub actually,
Wow.
and
I'm
I've
gonna
done
get
some
down
things
there
for
and check it
benefits
out,
for
take
them.
pictures.
Yeah, I've done benefits for them and things like that. Anything that can help. And I think I did something for Molly as well. And if I have it, the Irish Fund through Central Catholic, I donated a piece I did of a store in County Mayo, stuff like that. So if I have it, if it's going to do good, let's do good with it.
Right.
All right. I'm not here to make $1 billion. I'm here to help people and have fun doing it.
Right. And you know what? And the thing is, like, people will have this forever. Like, that's the one thing
It
about.
still astounds me. I told
Yeah.
you, somebody hanging
Yes.
in your house, and then whenever they
You're
move,
like, I did that.
whenever they move, are they going to keep it? Is it going to be one of those things that hangs
Absolutely,
out?
because it's unique.
know.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to find the same picture. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes I would go to somebody's house. I'm like, I have that picture.
Oh, okay.
But it's not. It's just a print. It's not the painting. It's not somebody sitting there and really being detail oriented like you are.
I think that's a blessing to see that happen.
Yeah.
It's just it's sometimes it's very inspiring that they keep doing it, because it just makes people feel good.
Right.
And I always tell everybody about teaching that people get frustrated, and I say, you just got to get up every morning and fight the tide.
Right.
If
And
you're
you
not
don't know
fighting
who-
against it, then you're going to get
Right.
swept away by it.
Who you're
And that's what you did
inspiring
too,
with it, yeah.
because you would have been swallowed by it, and you just said, okay, no, I need to do this, and now you got this wonderful thing. All the wonderful people you bring in here, all the benefit, all the people that do such great work. I mean, I
am
paint.
grateful.
I paint. You
Oh,
the
stop
people
it.
that save lives.
No, you know what? I'm grateful and I'm blessed because I've met so many wonderful and interesting people, and you are one of them. So remember that.
Now,
So when we talked on the phone, he was telling me about his beautiful wife, and
Yes.
she's probably going to be a guest here.
she better
In the
be.
next
Her
couple
story is a lot
months.
more interesting than mine.
Stop it.
Oh my God, she's
But don't
amazing. I'm
give
not
it
saying a
away.
word, but she
Yeah.
is an
She's
amazing
gonna have
person,
her
and she
own
inspires me
show.
every day,
Yeah.
because she works her tail off.
And I love
she's-
that.
And she
And-
gets back everything she puts in.
I love that, PJ, and I love the fact that we're only human, and we're all trying to find our way in this world. And I feel like that's why I love being in Pittsburgh, and I love my Pittsburgh people, because I find so many interesting people that are doing so many good things.
And
I
you
feel
find
like you
there's
are.
always a common ground with everybody in Pittsburgh. You can always find somebody common ground with anybody that sits next to you at the bar, or you meet in a party. You can find common ground, and Pittsburghers are open to understanding paths that everybody is, and they're very accepting of that.
Really, that's so
Yeah.
true.
I agree. They're very accepting
Thank you
people.
so much for just
This
taking
was,
the time to drive out here and to be on the show.
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. It's just been nice to meet you,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
was it's pretty impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
So this was another episode of Spill with Me, Jenny D. Take care.
Come spill with me. Come spill with me.